The global economic crisis in 2008 crippled many industries, the advertising industry being no exception. Marketers mercilessly went in for massive budget cuts, touching an all-time low. While 2010 showed some signs of recovery and 2011 was simply splendid, early signs indicate 2012 is going to be yet another stormy ride. So much so that marketers across the board are already in contemplation mode, figuring out ways to tighten their purses. What does that mean for the advertising fraternity? Khushbu Patodia spoke to a variety of marketers and ad men to get a sense of how much of a hit the sector will take in 2012.
In 2011, marketers faced a slowing global economy, weakening rupee, rising inflation, and falling consumer sentiment. It seemed inevitable that the slowdown would worsen 2012, with budget cuts all around. But early signs indicate that the outlook isn't all that bad. While ad spends are not galloping ahead, marketers are not planning major cuts. Instead, they're looking at tighter budgets and smarter spends.
All of us are hearing early murmurs of a need not for a slowdown, if you ask me, but for being conservative.
Marketing spends obviously is a function of where business is going. And the sentiment currently is that everybody's, let's say, adopting a cautious approach.
What 2011 has taught us is that do not commit all your expenditures for next 1 year. Do it in tranches. If things become better, you have the flexibility of increasing. And unfortunately, if these things don't work out to be as per your plans, then you are able to slide back.
The last time the advertising industry saw a slowdown was in 2009, when total ad spends fell to 20,000 crore rupees vis-a-vis 21,380 crore rupees in 2008. Since then, the industry has only looked up. By the end of 2011, the total ad spends accounted to a good 24,500 crore rupees. This year, marketers as well as media agencies say that the industry will see either a marginal slowdown or small growth.
My reading of the situation is yes, client spends will grow slower than 2010, which saw 20% plus growth, 2011, which probably saw 14-15% growth, and probably in 2012, client spends will grow by 8-9%. And that's driven by certain sectors being under enormous amount of pressure. Telecom hasn't been making money. Insurance has been under pressure, real estate has been under pressure, automobile has been under pressure. So I would say, let's read it the right shade of grey, not black or white.
2011 had a couple of events. It had, the World Cup and so on. So that in itself got clients to get a little more easy with, what they wanted to do. We had some high-profile launches. Hero Honda became Hero. So with that and many things like that, there was probably one of the better years we've had. But now when you look at 2012, we don't have the World Cup. We don't have many things which are not going to be there. And you've got this deep sentiment. Interest rates are high. Everybody, real estate is going through issues. So category after category, there are intrinsically some things which need to be corrected.
One sector that is bracing for maximum impact is financial services. It has been frugal with its marketing budgets during the last 3 years. Spends in 2011 reached 2,000 crore rupees. That amount won't drop, but expect to see more hard-working campaigns.
I think 2011-2012 has seen us catch good momentum, whether it's our life insurance business or our mutual fund business, and I see that momentum only build further during 2012-2013. Having caught pace, having gained momentum, it's but obvious that we should capitalize on it going forward too. And therefore, maybe in Q1 we should be conservative, but we can take a call for the rest of the year a little into the year.
My observation until this year has been that the financial services sector tends to, including us, tends to get conservative faster than the rest of the economy and tends to get aggressive slower than the rest of the economy. So we are early to conserve and late to be exuberant. But I think things are changing now, particularly if financial services in the developed world is going to get far more compressed. Then it's an opportunity for economies like India to get even more aggressive. So this may be the turning point where we see a difference in behavior, not just for Kotak, but for the whole industry.
The auto sector, on the other hand, has had a speedy start to the year with the Auto Expo that just wrapped up in Delhi. While the sector saw substantial growth in 2011 with spends close to 3,000 crore rupees, marketers feel 2011 will be slightly rocky but not as bad as 2009 when both high interest rates and liquidity posed a serious problem.
If we talk about 2012, then we have had the last rate policy of RBI. They paused the rate hikes, and I think there is talks that subsequent to March, when the inflation is under control, there would be actually a reduction in interest rates. And if that happens, maybe in the second half of 2012, we can see a bit of revival in the business sentiment and hence the spends as well.
The margins have been under tremendous pressure. At the same time, the market has been under tremendous volume pressure, and therefore the room to play with the prices has also not been very high, so which is forcing companies to innovate. So in our own plans, we are saying is that we need to extract at least 10 to 15% extra value from every rupee we spend.
3G, MNP and data services were the talk of the telecom sector in 2011, with close to 15 players competing with each other to grab their share of the market pie. The telecom sector had a great advertising innings last year.
Idea 3G.
Ad spends grew to 2,600 crore rupees vis-a-vis 1,600 crore rupees in 2009. The strategy going ahead would demand higher returns on spends.
Free offers without changing their numbers.
The reason for, I think, tightening is pretty evident, given that teledensity is reaching near saturation levels now. So the mass mobile opportunity to that extent, and advertising dollars really pushing to get new subscriber onto their bandwagon is getting limited, and it's getting into a level of diminishing returns. So clearly we need to learn, we need to reconfigure the way we need to spend money. While there is going to be a base threshold spend which will always be on the mass mobile space, there are going to be new opportunities that are going to be coming up there.
Two sectors that seem to be least impacted are consumer durables and FMCG. FMCG recorded a marketing expenditure of 6,400 crore rupees in 2011, a huge jump from 2009 when its spends totaled to 4,200 crore rupees. As for consumer durables, the sector accounted for 1,950 crore rupees end of last year.
So the good thing to being in the FMCG industry is that you advertise when the times are good. You advertise more when the times are bad. So that the industry will advertise is taken for granted. Will it see a lot of new launches? We already are seeing some signs of that. So yes, I don't see it to be very, very different. Are people cautious? Yeah, people are cautious. But there's also, it's a mix of optimism also.
The monies that are available for global spends are going to be spent only in India and China or in the BRIC countries, because they will have no other markets where to invest that money and to get better ROI than in all these developing markets. So I think multinationals and FMCGs are going to pump in monies into India. So I think you look at any category, be it impulse, be it toilet soaps, be it toothpaste, those categories are going to show dramatic growth, especially if the brands originate from a multinational company.
So while marketers will make sure that they do all that is required to protect margins, what will change is the way budgets are allocated. Expect movement between media and greater demand for innovation and cross-media ideas. Clearly, the ad industry has a lot to cope with.